Hey everybody, Amitofo. My name is Heng Sure. Today is Monday the 12th of August, and welcome to our Ten Transferences Sutra lecture. 各位阿弥陀佛，我叫恒实，欢迎参加我们华严经十回向品的讲座。Glad that you're here with us. I've been traveling for several months, been intensely away from our regular lecture for a couple weeks because of all the activities going on. But we're back now and looking forward to joining you. 因为万佛城就办大法会，还有回来澳大利亚，所以呢有几个礼拜没有机会跟各位在一起。那么现在我们就又继续讲解十回向品。Okay, let's see now. I want to, first of all, let's shift this. Got to make a few changes here so that we can proceed smoothly. Let's see. We acknowledge country, but I am now in Australia, and the Pomo people are the traditional custodians of the land around CTTV. So that's where we're going to acknowledge when we get started. Okay, 那今天我们有一位恭敬潮居士要请法，所以呢，就说恭居士，如果你现在准备好了，就请你begin. So we're going to ask Gong Qing Fa has volunteered to request Dharma, so please go ahead and request Dharma now. 我们现在开始。
恭敬大德僧听，为此法会及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of the simply and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to leave suffering, and attain bliss and ember and then, and quickly realize noble.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and the perfect enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sammyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi sammyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的，恭敬乔居士，阿弥陀佛。We appreciate the Dharma request. Let's continue. We can invoke spiritual presence here by welcoming the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the Flower Garland Assembly and the gods and the dragons in the Eightfold Pantheon. 我们继续为恭请华严海会佛菩萨、天龙八部护法上师莅临道场。Here we go. actually, I need, first of all, before we get going, I want to make sure, let's see here. Yes, original sound is on. Here we go. Namo Da Fang Guang Fu Hua Yan Jing Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guang Hua Yan Jing Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guang Fu Hua Yan Jing Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guang Hua Yan Jing Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guang Hua Yan Jing Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa Namo Da Fang Guang Hua Yan Jing Hua Yan Hai Hui Fo Pu Sa 还再来一次。We'll set that instrument down and proceed with our acknowledgement of country.
是法师 your voice
Yes.
seems a bit soft.
Soft, huh? Okay. All right. Let's boost it up a bit. That should help. I'll get the microphone a little closer. Okay, let me know if that's a little louder.
Yes.
Hope that
yes.
works. Okay, good. Say that the Pomo people practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. And today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and original storytellers of these lands. We offer our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 我们恭敬地承认 Pomo 人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。I want to tell a story about the acknowledgement of country. This is, if you're the guest coming into country, you pay your respects. But among the indigenous people of Australia, you welcome the newcomers who have come into your land, because people gain their identity. They know who they are through the land they inhabit. So we were traveling down to Sydney to join the Chinese Buddhist Association's three-country forum, China, Australia, and New Zealand. And as the Virgin Australia airplane was about to land at the Sydney airport, the flight attendant said, "We respectfully acknowledge the Gadigal people here who are the original custodians of this land, and we offer our respects to their elders, past, present, emerging." And it was, that's right, the entire plane, 130 people on this Boeing 737, are now guests in the traditional land owned by the indigenous peoples. And I thought, that's really how it works. So I myself, coming in through the internet to represent we who live in the Ukiah Valley, a city of 10,000 Buddhas, are acknowledging our roots as humans, the Ren Fa Jie, the human Dharma realm, and sharing that acknowledging the wisdom and connecting. The people who come after us will do the same. So this is a very lovely way to put ourselves in the ground, connected to living beings, using a traditional method. So thank you, Australia, for teaching us how to do this. 我们感谢澳大利亚人告诉我们如何你们 我们离开自己出生的地方到别的地方去，有一个新的方法，就说我们人法界认识这个，我们不是第一代人到这里来，我们有前辈，然后在我们后边跟着，我们变成他们的前辈，他们的长老。就说这次去从黄金海岸这里就飞到悉尼去了。这个 Virgin Australia 航空公司，我们快要降落下来，到了悉尼国际机场。这个那个服务员空中小姐就说我们恭敬那个Madrigal 人是我们这个悉尼这里的这个Gadigal 人，是我们悉尼这个地方的传统叙事者和守护人，我们恭敬他们过去、现在和未来的长者们。这样子呢，哎，对了，这个那个 Boeing 737的飞机130多位下来了，变成这个 Gadigal 人的客人，那他们就转身欢迎我们来。这样子呢，是表示我们有一点礼貌，懂得怎么样做，懂公德的道德的人的一个表现。So 我觉得很不错了。那个小姐就每次飞机降落下来，他们这么说的，这个很有一种人法界的礼貌，这是我们大慈大悲、同体大悲的一个部分。Okay, so I thought that was fascinating to have the flight attendant show us how to share a little bit of virtuous conduct as humans in the human Dharma realm, going towards great compassion. All right, now to continue and to conclude, we have a new bell. I've got a new bell, which really sounds, this bell just rings forever. It just rings and rings and rings. 我有新的一个凋零，这个凋零，哇，它的声音就很轰动，大家听听看。还在，哇，还在 ，still ringing. Good bell. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. Now, as I read the Chinese, it goes like this. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报贪我厚德。I have a story, and I need to get a prop to tell it well. So excuse me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, there we go. Thank you for letting me do that. What do we have? There we go. I just had the opportunity to travel to celebrate the, let me go. To celebrate the three-country Buddhist forum, as I mentioned. This is a special event, the very first one of the China, Australia, and New Zealand Buddhist Forum in Sydney. And part of the experience is how are they translating it? A Chinese Buddhist chanting musical ensemble. The monastery at Lingyinsi in Shanghai, I'm sorry, in Hangzhou, I said it wrong here, trying to do too many things at once. Let's see here. Here we go. I'm trying to get, why I'm doing this, I want to get the right Chinese for it. There we go. So these forums have been going on for some time now, and this is the first one that has included China, Australia, and New Zealand. And in order to celebrate it, the monks at Lingyinsi in Hangzhou, led by Master Guangquan, rented the Sydney Opera House for a day. Costed many tens of thousands of dollars. The premier venue in Australia, and it's a worldwide, well-known, first-class venue. And the event was the Peace and Well-Being chanting performance concert of the Chinese Buddhist chanting musical ensemble. And it included outstanding musical performers from all over China and playing Chinese Buddhist music straight, no commercialization of it, just the most pure, wonderful tradition of Chinese Buddhist music. And one of the performances late in the program was a monk singing the Zhongsheng Ji, Zhongsheng Chuan Sanqian Jianei, in the traditional way. Now, there will be a recording of it distributed. We don't have it yet. But this bhikshu with a fine, clear, clean voice sang Zhongsheng Chuan Sanqian Jianei Fo Fa Yang Wani Guo Zhong, and he did it just with a bell, just pure. And I can't wait to get a copy of that and play it for everybody so that you can hear, instead of my, English version, da 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 da. That one, it's the Zhongshan Chuan. Oh, it's really, really adorned, very beautiful. So. Well, we have that coming up, and I'll tell you more about the performance at the end of the lecture here. 就说讲到这里哈，我们刚刚用英语来唱这个众生机，唱中文的众生传3000劫内佛法扬往你国中恭训其法界和平礼报他人后者。刚刚有机会在悉尼，澳大利亚的最大的城市，参加三国论坛中澳新，就是中国、澳大利亚、新加坡啊，不会说错了，新西兰不是新加坡，中国、澳大利亚、新西兰3个国家的论坛。这个论坛包括一个演出，所谓翻倍演出。另外一个名字叫什么？悉尼歌剧院音乐会，中国佛教翻倍艺术团所唱的、所奏的这个音乐。这个呢是每次有论坛，杭州004光圈大和尚领导，这个全中国最著名的、最有 历史性的，包括1800年的历史性的翻倍团，有的唱，有的奏，有的吹，有的拉，有的敲，有的弹，各种不同的佛教音乐。哈，在悉尼歌剧院呢，那个要租一天可能几万块钱，可是这个是大家觉得非常值得有机会听到最亲近、最传统性的佛教翻倍音乐所以到这个节目呢的最后下半部呢，有一位比丘出来拿个引磬唱什么呢？唱众生偈，就是我们这个众生偈，唱得很好听我听说他们录影了还没听到效果怎么样？等一等他出来了，我一定会放给大家听，因为我唱的英文 The bell sound wide resounds 就比较简单，这个呢是庄严的不得了所以等一下我们快讲完了，我会继续讲这个经验。I'll give you a little more of that experience of the forum at the end of the lecture here. So, yeah, quite a big deal. Oh boy, that was quite something to hear it, to hear the bell song in its original form. Wow, really wonderful. You're looking at, anybody know what you're looking at? 你们各位知道你们所看到的是什么呢？这是五台山的这个道场那边31所道场现在那么因为讲这个华严经入法界品，我们有文殊师利菩萨刚刚出现了，就鼓励这个善财童子开始那个53参的探险，这个他的pilgrimage。那么所以五台山跟文殊菩萨有这种最密切的关系。文殊菩萨是五台山的教主。其实清凉山就在华严经里边出现了，所以他的名字已经在那儿。So 我就找到这个图像，我想发给大家看。So on my desktop here is Five Peaks Mountain, Wutaishan. This is, of course, in Shanxi province in China. It's the famous home of Manjushri Bodhisattva, and where he is the teaching host. And he's appeared recently in our lecture series of the Avatamsaka Sutra, entering the Dharma Realm chapter. And we've been talking about Sudana's pilgrimage. And so Sudana and Manjushri are teacher and student and teacher. And Five Peaks Mountain in Shanxi province is a place where Manjushri has been appearing regularly for thousands of years, 2,000 years to be exact. And the Chinese, being great historians, have been recording his appearances. So Qingliang Shan, Clear and Cool Mountain, appears in the Avatamsaka Sutra. It appears by name. So this is a sacred space. And so I thought when I saw these wonderful photos, I thought to put them on my desktop. Okay. Now, who is here today? Oh, a minute ago we had 100 people. Now we have 112. Wow, so many. Dharma Master Jin Yung is our kind-hearted host who keeps this series going, and the lay people who support this effort at CTDB are here, as well as our Dharma requester from, from Haining in Zhejiang today. Alan is here, and Anlebo from San Jose, Barbara and Ernie are here. Binxin is here from Shanghai. Bob is here, probably with Fran there as well. Celeste is here from Hong Kong. And Ms. Chok from Malaysia, and Yi Zhonghee from LA, and Guo Zhongyi from LA, and Cong Liu from Calgary. Okay, Liu Cong. Good. And let's see. Connie is here, and Guoji and Guo Kuk, and Cynthia is here, and Daisy is here from Saratoga and Calgary, and Daniel from Portland, and Donna from San Jose, and Duke Leban from Montreal, and Edgar from Malaysia. And Elaine is here from Texas, 2 Elaines, and Gwen is here from Dublin, and Guohong is here from Alameda, and Hong from San Jose, and Jan from West Sacramento. Welcome, Jan. My goodness, how about that? West Sacramento, that must be City of the Dharma Realm. Glad you're here today. Jason from Northern California, Jenny from Seattle, Jensen in Jakarta. Welcome to your new child. Good news. Baby in the family. Dharmista Jinro is here, and Katie from Union City, and Kelly from Ukiah, and Kim Win, and Mr. Yip from New Zealand. Golly Fong, Linda from San Francisco. Ling Fong is here. Glad you're with us. Let's see who else is here. We've got Mr. Ng from Stockton. That must be Miss Ng from Stockton. Liz is here from New York. Maggie is here in China now, not in San Jose. Okay. And then Maggie from Vancouver, and Mai from the Bay Area. May is here, and Min Lee, and Win, and that's Go Chan. Welcome. Sarah is here. Hey, Sarah. Michael there listening behind you, I hope. Yep. And let's see here. Let's see here. Sylvia from Seattle. Lots of friends. Terry is here. Excellent. We got some new plans on Shifu's biography we'll share with you soon. Guoji is here. Let's see here. Zhou Wailin. Willie from Virginia. Miss Yang is here. Ukiah. And Miss Go from Calgary. And Yi Huan. And Miss Ding from Vancouver. And Iban from Malaysia. 我们改到这个东半部，这个地球的东半部哈，邱福峰来了。有这个名字我怕我念错了，所以就念地方就好了。北京、上海、哈尔滨，还有什么地方？如果各位呢，你们的名字旁边都写你们在哪里，我可以念，就知道这个广播是多远了。If you put your name, your location by your name in your Zoom box, I will know where you are and how far this lecture went around the world. 还有广州 and 浙江黑龙江 and 唐山河北 and 朝阳 and 深圳大连东北人很多安徽合肥对了 let's see here 荣昌还有黑龙江北京江苏黑龙江安徽苏州let's see 宝鸡山西宝鸡黑龙江泉州在福建广州哪里安徽还有哈尔滨深圳北京湖北黄冈 OK 河北唐山北京江苏哪里呀河南许昌 OK 开封哇那是中国的最早的这个发源地中国文化发源地北京哈尔滨南京let's see here 海南西雅图中国什么地方西雅图黑龙江哈尔滨吉隆坡我们知道哪里朝阳还有山东济南市 OK 深圳上海黑龙江 and 哪里洛阳 OK 洛阳开封 we have representatives from China, the source of Chinese culture, Luoyang and Kaifeng, the oldest cities where they think Chinese culture originated. Excellent. Glad you're all here. Thank you for joining. Okay. Not that. We want this one instead. Yes. Okay. We are in the verses portion of the Ten Transferences chapter, which some scholars will tell you are the earliest version, that the prose was developed later from the verses. I don't know, true or false. Doesn't really matter. We get them both in these translations of the Avatamsaka. And what's going on is the verses are praising bodhisattvas and talking about the size of their hearts. How big is their compassion? How many living beings fit inside their hearts? And how they don't forget them when they transfer merit. That's what we're about, and a little bit of music involved, a little bit of rhythm, so that we makes it easier to remember. 现在在第7回向，我们已经讲到这个重诵。第7回向呢，是比较就是说高等的回向，这位菩萨、这些菩萨的功夫已经成立了，已经到了，所以他们回向，他们的心内能包容，他们的慈悲包容很多很多众生，所以这些偈颂就赞叹菩萨。Okay, put my palms together. Let's start with the Chinese. Can you all see it on your screen there? 菩萨愿力无限爱，一切世间现摄受，如是回向诸春生，未曾沾起分别心。Nothing can obstruct the strength of Bodhisattva's vows, gathering in everyone in the world. They thus dedicate to all living beings, without for an instant giving rise to discrimination. It's not very musical, but it covers the ground. So nothing can obstruct the strength of Bodhisattva's vows. The reason being, they arise in the mind, and human mind is the most powerful thing in creation, in terms of electricity that it generates, and in terms of what it can create. You can destroy people's bodies, but the power of their thoughts is indestructible. Once an idea gets out in the world and touches other hearts, it doesn't die. Religious faith is certainly that way. Hatred is equally powerful, but it can be dispelled by the stronger positive thought. 就说怎么说呢？菩萨愿力无限爱，怎么会呢？因为菩萨的愿力是从人的心而成就的，而造出的。这个人心呢，是最有力量的，这个全世界最有力量的一件事情。人的身体可以杀了，可以毁灭，不过从人的心发出来的意见，一个怎么说 ？How do you say？就是一个念头，一碰到其他人的心呢，那个念头就存在。一个主意，你可以杀那个起主意的人，可是他的那个念头如果是善良，如果是有光明他就永远不灭了，一代传一代。好比说呢，举个例子，就说信教的这个念头就几千年跟人类一样长大所以菩萨的愿力是其中一个。So the Bodhisattva's vows are certainly one of those, and one example of the power of an idea, because it is brilliant and selfless. Even should it encounter hate, it doesn't retreat. And finally, the hateful ideas are dark and covered, and they're blasted apart by the power of Bodhisattva's vows. The story goes that Devadatta, the Buddha's afflicted cousin, tried to kill the Buddha and fell into the cause and effect. He ran into cause and effect through the karma created by his negativity. But the Buddha's vows found a way to rescue even Devadatta and pulled him out of the hells. So there's an example of the light of vows and compassion being stronger than the coverings of darkness and hatred. So I'm really tempted to talk about, but I won't, the resurgence in America of idealism in the political sphere. Won't talk about it today. Okay. 所以就说提婆达多是释迦牟尼佛的亲戚，他因为烦恼深重，结果呢就说错因果，就堕落地狱。应该说告一段落，就没有下一品，不对了，因为佛陀的慈悲那种光明已经超过这种妒忌心的黑暗，所以连提婆达多他也到时候也被超度了，就成功了。所以呢，菩萨愿力无限爱，没有错。Next, gathering in everyone in the world, including people like Devadatta. So imagine how hard it is to be a bodhisattva, because you've got to find room in your heart even for the people who are just rotten. They thus dedicate to all living beings without an instant giving rise to discrimination. Boy, do I have a story about that. 一切世间显摄受，如是回向，诸春生未曾沾起分别心。It's hard，这个很不容易原谅对我们有嗔恨心的众生，你就一样超度他们呢，这是不容易的。菩萨是这么大心、大慈悲、大慈大悲、大愿大力的这个菩萨。等一下，我有一个故事。So I was at the Berkeley Monastery when the night that Timothy McVeigh sent a truck full of fertilizer and a fuse and blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City, killing people and an act of genuine domestic terrorism. And at that moment, when the news spread out, when the news was reported, we were listening to a teacher. I won't mention his name because he's a controversial person, but he was the news hit the Buddha Hall full of. It was a Thursday night, the night of our Vipassana group, and it was a guest teacher, and he said something that I'll never forget. The word spread that a domestic terrorist had blown up the government building in Oklahoma City, and everyone was like, they're reacting emotionally and with equal amounts of terror and anger. And the teacher said, okay, test for you. What kind of a Buddhist are you? Can you find room in your heart to cross over Timothy McVeigh? If not, you don't merit the name Buddhist. You don't really practice great compassion. And it was true. We all went, gulp. I guess that's right, isn't it? Here it says, without for an instant giving rise to discrimination, letting a thought of friend and foe, of friend and enemy, of evil people who deserve punishment. How difficult it is to see the Buddha nature covered over, but there nonetheless, deep in the heart of somebody who has harmed us irrevocably. That's tough. That's tough. That's a real test. 我记得那个美国有这么一个案子。Anybody remember the year of that? Type in the year into the chat. What year did that happen? Was it in the 1900s? I think it was. Maybe 2000 or 2001 or 2002 when that happened. 就说 Oklahoma City 美国中部一个城，有一个国内的恐怖分子就用一个炸弹在一个卡车里边 放在 Oklahoma City 那个政治大楼就爆炸了，杀了很多人了，就是国内里边的恐怖。那天晚上是一个星期四，在 Berkeley Monastery， 那个时候每个星期四有不同的团体来，就讲法。那个是 Vipassana， 这个怎么说静观那个方法。那个消息就到了，那个时候有大约80多位在那里。We got somebody who's helped us out here. April 1995. Okay, thanks, Yuhan. 就是上人有涅槃那年，1995年。那个大家坐在那里80多位，他们的反应就一般的，就说那个该死的那个人应该快去杀了他，报仇。那天晚上，那个老师，我不说他的名字不要紧，他就说 OK， 他说你们的考试来了，你们是不是真的佛教徒？你们的慈悲是真的是假的？他说如果你的慈悲是真的的话，你们应该原谅度这个 Timothy McVeigh 那个放炸弹那个人，你不应该有分别心。他的佛性跟你的佛性啊，跟各位的佛性一样的，就是他很多层的无明遮盖他的佛性。你不想度他了，他是在你的慈悲之外呢，那你不知这个名字佛教徒，是不是？他说大家就低个头，这样子一切是考验。对了 ，So boy oh boy, yeah, Timothy McVeigh, Devadatta, the Buddha's own cousin. 普愿众生知明了，不是持戒习清净，精进修行不懈废，如是大事无休息，无休息Can't quite get that low. Vowing that living beings will have luminous wisdom, will practice giving and upholding precepts purely, and will cultivate vigorously without becoming lax. Bodhisattvas keep such great vows without resting. Okay, vowing that living beings will have luminous wisdom, bright wisdom, will practice giving and upholding precepts purely, and cultivate vigorously. Bodhisattvas make vows without resting. What kind of vows are these paramitas? Hoping, not hoping, actually working more than hope. They're giving away the results of their hard cultivation so that living beings will have wisdom, will be generous, will be virtuous, will be vigorous. Those are 4 of the, so wisdom paramita, dana paramita, precepts, shila paramita, vigorous, virya paramita. What's missing here is what? Patience and samadhi. The other 4 are there of the paramitas. So this is a perfectly wonderful dedication to make. May all beings accomplish the paramitas and become bodhisattvas themselves. Wouldn't that be a better world if everything that I did was given with the wish that everybody who receives my dedication cultivates the bodhisattva path? Wow. Different world, wouldn't it? 各位注意哈，这个回向的愿呢，是属什么呢？是回向一切众生成就波罗蜜菩萨道的这个工具。普愿众生智明了，那是般若波罗蜜。布施就是这个贪波罗蜜。持戒就失落波罗蜜习清净那已经是3个。精进修行不懈废，那是第4，就是比利耶就是精进波罗蜜。如是大事无休息。所以菩萨他回向功德，就说愿你一切众生成就这个 菩萨道的这个工具，就是六波罗蜜六度法。菩萨回向到彼岸，普开清净妙法门，智慧通于两足尊，两足尊分别是一得究竟。Bodhisattvas make dedications to arrive at the other shore, and open pure and wonderful Dharma doors everywhere, as their wisdom equals that of the Venerable Ones of dual perfection. They thus discern true principle and realize ultimate meaning. Realize ultimate meaning. If I start a little higher, I could probably get there. They thus discern true principles and realize ultimate meaning. Almost. So here it is. They make dedications to Tao Bi'an, that's the paramitas, yep, and open pure and wonderful Dharma doors everywhere so that we can all walk through those doors. So pure and wonderful Dharma doors, yes, meaning showing us how to cultivate so that we get it and we use our time doing things that generate merit that we can share. How good is that? Their wisdom equals that of the Venerable Ones of dual perfection. That's a title, isn't it? Liang Zu Zun, doubly pure, twice over, complete. Those are different ways. Liang Zu, the honored ones who have made Zu full, complete, filled up twice, two things. What is it? Blessings and wisdom. They get true principle and realize ultimate meaning. Okay, this one is worth talking about a little bit because the Liang Zu Zun is a Buddhist title of the Buddha, and what it means is to become a Buddha, you have to be wise and you have to be kind, both. Wisdom means that we see past the surface. Every circumstance, every situation that arises, we look at it and we go, well, I could just react, or I could wait a minute and look past the surface to what created the situation. Somebody comes over and gets really angry at us and calls us names, somebody we don't even know, and we go, no, wait a minute. You're a stranger. You don't know anything about my life, and yet you're here making these claims about me or about my mama. Somebody's calling my mama something. And if I stick on the surface, I get upset and I say, you can't say that to me or my mama. And I react and I strike back or call them names and escalate. That's only reacting to the surface. Somebody who has wisdom says, since you have no clue about my life and you're not really concerned, it's obvious to me that you're upset, that you've got trouble, and you can't cope with it. And so whatever is happening in your life has triggered your emotions, and you're upset. And it has nothing to do with me. And if you were to continue that way and provoke me and I reacted and struck back, then the lack of wisdom, the ignorance would just double. So no reason for me to react. In fact, I have had times when I felt bad too. I totally sympathize with your situation, and I'm not going to contribute to it by reacting with emotion. So, sorry that you feel that way. It had nothing to do with me. With that insight, looking past the surface, what happens is the original fire or heat or affliction of the person who scolded you goes out. Nothing happens. It's over. And you might even be able to help the person out. They might be so touched by your kindness that they break down and admit what's going on and really get to the heart of the affliction. So ignorance reacts. Wisdom looks past the surface. That's half of the dual perfection. The other half is blessings. So a Buddha has to have wisdom, seeing past the surface. They also have to have blessings. And I asked Shifu, what are blessings? Shifu said, 令他人欢喜. Find a way to make others happy. And I thought, my first thought was, so easy? And then he said, yeah, he said, most of us, you included, are only concerned about making yourself happy. If you dedicate your attention, your focus, your concentration, and your efforts to making others happy, blessings result. You plant the field of blessings. So he said, easy to say, hard to do. And the Buddha is the best at it. 50% of the Buddha's accomplishment had to do with being kind and making others happy. That has nothing to do, I mean, it can arise from seeing past the surface, but it's mostly focused on helping, service, kindness, generosity, etc. Right? It's like, okay, that's a lot. So half of the Buddha's accomplishment is focused on others. Half of the Buddhist accomplishment is focused on developing your own insight, taking the covers off your mind so that you can see past the surface, right? Together, the blessings and wisdom together, you become a venerable one of dual perfection, 两祖尊. Okay? 就说那个两祖尊呢很有意思啊，就说那两个就是智慧和福气福报两个。如果要成佛呢，要智慧圆满，福报圆满。智慧呢，就说你的内观的力量，你的功夫不被外表所转，不被境界所转，能转境界。境界来了，你不是单单看到皮毛就有反应啊，那个很多次就会增长烦恼。有智慧的人呢，好比说呢，有某某人你不认识，他就来骂你一顿，或者甚至于打你一顿，怎么样？没有智慧的人就马上反应，你不能这样子，就打回去。或者听说在台湾知道了，是不是中国一样了？有人撞车，马上下车去打那个人，就是一个习惯。印度我知道是这样子。你有智慧，有人骂你了，你不是马上就打他一顿，你就说哦，你不认识我，你怎么知道我怎么样？你刚刚你骂的，明明你没办法知道我是怎么一回事，所以呢，你这样子呢，那个烦恼在你身上，烦恼就在你心里，跟我没有关系的。所以呢，我不愿意无明跟着无明就我不需要自己起火了发火了。所以呢，我就说哦，你这样子跟我没有关系的，跟我母亲没有关系，你侮辱我的母亲呢，那个我不是要保护我自己，那个是没有意思的，我没有自己来保护没有一个自己，没有一个我见，所以呢，我就知道你这样做的，因为你自己身上有烦恼我常常有烦恼，这次没有了，所以呢，我不会换手我就明白你这个呢，是我应该就怜悯这个可怜的众生，所以那个你骂我几句话就经过我的头，不会落到我身上，就像你对了，就说你如果风吹到你面上， 你如果吐一口吐敏，那个吐敏跟着风又踏到自己的脸上，那么因为我听到你这样骂我，我心里没有火所以呢，那个事情没有了，就结束了那么那个就叫智慧 ，seeing past the surface， 你的眼光透过表面，就到里边的真正的问题所在。那么这样子呢，就没有战争了，不争就在这里那是智慧。可是呢，两祖尊那是前半部，还有一半部，就是福有智慧具足，有福报具足，两祖尊这样子。福报呢，怎么来的呢？我有一次就问师父，什么叫福气呢？什么叫福报呢？师父就望着我，他说令他人欢喜。短短的一句，我师父这福报呢？他说那么简单呢？他就说，是啊，你说简单呢？你很多人呢，包括你在内，一天到晚就想法子令自己欢喜了令他人欢喜真的不容易你必须要用你的时间，用你的花你的注意力就解决他们的问题。布施精进布施那个持戒忍辱精进禅定般若，就专门令他人欢喜了，真的不容易你懂吗？果然不是那么简单对所以呢，佛陀呢，他的功夫50%花在令他人欢喜就说服务 service就用这个6度来就说想法子令他人欢喜，甚至于超度众生，度众生原来如此两祖尊是一半就在福报，一半就在智慧。So, right? Okay, my translation. How am I doing? Exercise my Chinese. My goodness. I appreciate the English speakers being willing to listen through my ratty Chinese. So, anyway, the idea of making others happy, if you use the paramitas, think about just plug those in there. So if I know that half of my cultivation as a Buddha is spent on benefiting other people, making them happy, how do I do that? Giving to them, generosity, that's one. What else? Precepts, so finding a way to never again harm living beings with killing, stealing, or lust, or lying, or intoxicating. Then using patience to endure people's slow progress towards the light, vigor and cultivation to work hard to make others happy, and then samadhi to allow your nature to emerge, and then wisdom that knows how to respond. Yeah, those paramitas are right there to create blessings, which is half of your cultivation. Yes, indeed. Okay, we got one more. Let's do another one. We got to do 3 at least. 菩萨言辞一通达，种种智慧亦如是。说法如理无障碍，而于其中心不着。Bodhisattvas comprehend all worlds, all languages, and all varieties of wisdom. They teach the Dharma according to principle and without obstruction. In doing so, their minds are without any attachment whatsoever. This is so non-musical. Yeah, we could work on it. Squeeze it. Bodhisattvas comprehend words and languages. They spend a lot of time with the world of sound. In India, one of the curriculum, one of the primary classes in an educated, for the great minority, the tiny minority of people who could afford to get an education, who weren't out trying to grow food. one of the main lines of study was called Shabda. Shabda is sound, 声闻. So the sound in the educational curriculum of India when the Buddha was getting an education as a prince and for many centuries following, it included all words and all languages and varieties of wisdom that came through the ear. So as the Shurangama Sutra says, the Buddha and Manjushri have the dialogue, and he says, "Citu zhenjiao qingjing za yinwen," the substance of education in all teachings here in this land come through the ear. They're the substance of learning happens to be with language here. So if we want to understand the world and know what's going on, we need to listen to how humans communicate. Now, because of the big rain today, we're into a couple weeks of winter rains, so the bird schedules are a little offbeat, and I've just returned, so they haven't found me. But in future weeks, coming through my microphone, you will hear bird sounds, and because there's large families of birds, parents, siblings, boys and brothers and sisters, parents and kids, there's lots of bird communication that goes on right outside my door here. I live in the forest and in the bush in Australia. And I have, because I hear it day and night, and then I watch the behavior, I have come to appreciate a lot of the sounds. And when you hear them repeated, you know that this is language. These are phonemes and syllables and words and sentences and syntax and all of the elements of communication that happen when a parent bird is telling a child bird what to do, or they're saying danger, or they're saying that's mine, get out of the way, or they're saying you can't take that, that belongs to my wife. Truly, I see the couples, there we go, I see them interact using spoken language. Fascinating to realize that among human languages, there's so many that we don't understand, and yet the other creatures are communicating via spoken language that carries meaning and is commands and threats and appreciation. The king parrots, as I feed them, they make this wonderful sound of appreciation as they're eating their sunflower seeds. So truly wonderful to be able to listen in to other species communicate as well. How much the more so our human languages. 就说菩萨他呢就说这个楞严经里边呢，释迦牟尼佛跟文殊菩萨就教化，就说此图真教体清净在因闻。就说在这里，如果要学东西，如果要学习事情，必须要用耳朵了，有声音。在印度，古来的印度，西当太子将来释迦牟尼佛，他读书的时候有一个课程，就是声明，就是 Shabda， 是一种学问，包括语言，包括文字诗书这个语文呢，包括听经、听道理、听法在内，完全是从口发的声音就到耳朵，就到心里，就有意思了，这样子。所以那么这是讲楞严经讲当时的印度，这个都完全包括现在在内啊。So software would also be in the Shabda, in the study of language. 结果呢，我们现在用的这个高科技这个软体，你电脑上、手机上的东西都属于声明。 菩萨他要度众生，他一定要学习语文，知道他的文字的力量。刚刚讲我在澳大利亚这里，在树林子里边住呢，那个巧鸟啊，他们来了一家，有长者，有孩子，有父母，有孩子，有兄弟姐妹，还有不同群跟不同群在一起。我在这里听到他们这个声音，我可以听到一样的这些文字，这些声音，不同的字。这个鸟是我知道它是爸妈，他就向孩子叫一声，或者另外一群鸟过来，他就威胁他不要接近，都可以慢慢的时间久了，我都认识种种的不同的所发的语文呢，很有意思，就是众生类哈。然后呢，谁对于文字的力量是行家，就师父玄华上人，他在对联的时候，我们都可以看到文字的这个奇妙。大家知道哈，师父就从旧金山开车开到万佛城下车，可能是凌晨大约6点7点，师父很早就出发，就到了这个无言堂，拿起来粉笔或者妙语堂，拿起来粉笔写上联在黑板上，然后他就说：“好了，你们谁愿意就对下联就来试一试。”哇，很多人呢中文还不好，在那儿对联，就出了下联。然后呢，师父就来了，就改良。他就拿粉笔看你出的下联，他就改1个字、2个字，完全把那个意思反过来，就有道理，跟着佛法的真理，就也是对人的这个个性就教训他，真的奇妙。所以就说菩萨言辞一通达，你就师父在对联的时候，你都可以看到这种用语文来教化众生，此土人教体清净在因文。So I just remembered an experience that we had at Wanfachang that I really wish we could share it. I don't think we videoed it back then. I know there were people who copied down all of them. So what's it about? There's this literary form called matching couplets, and Shifu was the master of matching couplets from childhood. And what it involves, it's a uniquely Chinese form of testing your wisdom and your literary skill. The teacher in charge writes a line. Could be 3 characters, could be 5 characters, could be 12, 15, 20 characters. And hands the chalk, if it's a chalkboard, over to the next person. And that person matches the top line with their own second line. And the rules are you have to match. So red is a color, gets matched with another color, blue, green, yellow, black, white. If it's heaven, you have to match it with earth or sky or water or something. If it's wisdom, you have to match it with stupidity or eloquence or something like that. So when it's just right, it's an absolute match, and Shifu was the best at that. So Shifu would come in, he'd drive up from San Francisco, 2 hours on the highway. Now it's 7 a.m. and we're in the Wonderful Words Hall, or the Wordless Hall, the CTDB. And Shifu would say, "Okay, everybody, get ready." And he would put on the blackboard the top line, his own line, first line. And then he would say, "Everybody who wants to, come up and match it." And astonishing how people whose Chinese was still very minimal state, would take the test and try their best to match it with the line. And that was the first step. And sometimes that first step was all you needed. That was really good. Other times, and this was the amazing part, Shifu would then come back And he would say, okay, who's the second? Okay, and he would change 2 words in the second line. And suddenly, the not so wonderful second line would be speaking Dharma and often pointing directly at the heart of the person who wrote the second line as an instruction. And just this magical transformation by a teacher who could use language like a thunderbolt, language like a gift to show you something that you didn't understand, and also something that by matching it gave you complete insight into a principle that you hadn't understood. Okay, Celeste has given us a YouTube link. Is that师父's YouTube? Oh, wonderful! It's on YouTube. Wonderful. I will check that later. Thank you, and we will share that later. So the ability, Shifu's couplets were gathered into a book that I don't think it saw much circulation. It's a very thin text. Maybe it's in the Shizi Zhuanji. I need to grab a copy of the Shifu's collection of poetry and verses. I believe there's some couplets in there as well. Truly wonderful, which pointed directly at the heart of the person matching the couplet in a compassionate and kind way to show them something they'd never understood before. So that ability to use language, just astonishing. I think people can hear the rain falling outside on the roof now. OK, 所以呢，菩萨言辞以通达，就像师父这样子，能用语文来教化众生，真的是有这种能力是，就说不可思议哈。Alrighty, now we are continuing. You know what I have to do? I have to close the door. It's too loud. Be right back. Okay. Let's look at Master Xuanzang's biography. Oh boy. Take a look here. He is, where is he? He is now here. You can all see my screen. This is called Peshawar. Peshawar is in where? Pakistan, what we currently call Pakistan, right there. Current Peshawar, and you can see that this is, here are the mountains. There's a pass coming from the north. Here are the high mountains, and this is forest. And of course, Master Xuanzang is going to take the pass through the mountains because he's passing by, heading for where? Heading for India. Okay, there it is again. 这个地方是在现在的巴基斯坦，这边是高山，这边是森林，这是山谷，通达山谷，往印度往南边走。玄奘大师一定要跟着这个山谷，经过高山，这里是他的路途。再下去，这里是这个山上还有下雪啊。There's snow on high peaks, so he is coming through this valley. Here is Islamabad. Here is, Peshawar. India is down here. Here's the Punjab. So he's passing through Peshawar here in our section today. 今天 玄奘大师就经过 Peshawar 向印度这样子走。齐国东邻，沿渡河，渡称号部路、沙布罗，果多贤圣，古来作轮者师，诺罗延天、无照菩萨、世亲菩萨、法救如意、邪尊者等，皆是从这里出来的。This country had sages and ancient Shastra masters, who are much revered by the Nalanda school. Narayana Deva, Asanga, Vasubandhu, Dharmamitra, Manoratha, and Parsva were born in this country. Venerable Ribs, the elder one Ribs, right? That all came from here. We looked at this before. 王城东北有智佛波宝台，波后流依诸国，今现在波兰纳斯国。To the northeast of the royal city was a precious terrace for keeping the Buddha's eating bowl, which had passed through many countries and was kept in Benares. So the Buddha's robe and bowl were testimonies to faith. They passed along through 27 ancestors, patriarchs, in India, came to Bodhidharma, who was number 28. And then they got passed on through 6 more generations to the hands of Master Huineng, the 6th patriarch. 这个是衣钵就是从释迦牟尼佛一代一代传下去。第28是达摩祖师离开中国到了中国来，然后再有6位就到慧能大师，就是六祖大师，就是这个衣钵。这个时候玄奘大师经过呢，就在波罗那城那斯国，波罗那斯国。城外东南8、9里有碧波罗树，高100余尺，过去4佛并坐其下，现有4如来像，当来996佛，宜当作言。At a distance of 8 or 9 li to the southeast outside the city was a pipala, that's a fig tree, 100 feet high. Wow, huge. The 4 past Buddhas had sat under it, and there were the images of those 4 Tathagatas. The 996 Buddhas of the future will all sit under it. 就说过去这个贤劫，过去4如来都坐，就包括释迦牟尼佛第4，坐在那里。接下来有996尊佛会坐那里。怎么讲呢？这是什么意思 ？Okay, take a look here. We are in what is called the Bhadra Eon, the worthy Eon, the wholesome Eon. And there's predictions about the Buddhas who come and Krakochanda there. 4 Buddhas have already been born into the Bhadra, the worthy Eon. Number 4 is Shakyamuni, our present Buddha. In the past, Krakochanda, Kanakamuni, Kashyapa, and Shakyamuni have sat under that tree, including our Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha. Maitreya will come in another world, and in this eon, he will sit there, and then we'll have Sinya, Pradyota, Muni, Kusuma, 2 different Kusumas. Sunetra, Sartavaha, Mahabahu, and Mahabala will all sit under the same tree. That's just some of the wonder of being a Buddha, how it works. So 1,000 Buddhas per kalpa, and we are 4 into the Bhadra kalpa. The previous was the adorned, the alamkara, the splendid kalpa. 就这个很奇妙，就是佛与佛是这样子，每一个劫都有一尊佛。我们的贤劫现在过去是庄严劫，现在贤劫已经有4位，第4呢就是我们释迦牟尼佛，将来下生谁？弥勒尊佛，他们佛与佛各在这个菩提树下打坐。 Krakuchanda, Kanakamuni, Kashyapa, 释迦牟尼佛还有弥勒佛都在同样一棵树呢底下就做了。Okay, how about that? Let's see here. What else? Okay, 在此有速度波释迦尼释迦王所造，高400尺，一周1里半，高150尺，其上及精通相轮25层，中有如来舍于一湖。By the side of the tree was a stupa built by King Kanishka, famous Indian ruler, 400 feet high. Now that's a tall stupa with a foundation 1.5 li in circuit. I mean, that's big. 150 feet in height is the foundation. At the top was a diamond wheel and 25 layers, which was contained 1 hu of the Buddha's relic bones. 1 hu, here it says hu of the Buddha's. Okay, here's a stupa built by King Kanishka. And this was King Kanishka knew about stupas. And so he created this incredible religious structure. Here we go. We're going to look here. Right. Take a look here. Here's a stupa. This is a famous stupa at Wutaishan, Wutai Mountain, Five Peaks Mountain. And if you say 400 feet high, no, it's not that tall. And it has a 25-layer wheel on top. Maybe. Don't know quite what this. But this is a famous brick and plaster stupa at Wutaishan. And this is Indian shape. It's not the Chinese shape. But it's been a landmark at Wutaishan for hundreds and hundreds of years. So how interesting, huh? That here's the stupa, but the one that King Kanishka built by the side of this huge Bodhi tree is just, so big. 1.5 li in circumference, Chinese measurements. That's, hundreds of yards around. Where did it go? When did it fall? Wouldn't it be wonderful if it was still up? 这是五台山一个宝塔。你说多高啊？很高，不如Kanishka 王所造的，就是在那个菩提树旁边的造的那个大的1里半这么远，可以走面积，真的太大了。为什么它塌了，现在不见了呢？里边很多故事哈。所以呢，这也是它，这个是这个五台山的一个大家就很熟悉的、很出名的这个宝塔印度式，这不是中国式的宝塔，用那个砖头还有那个水泥造的Okay, famous stupa, but compare here's a 那个我的桌上哈。这个也是中国式的这个塔，很多层，不过King Kanishka 所造的塔，那个是不可比的大速度波西南北有余部，有白石像，高1丈8尺，北面立几多灵瑞。往往有人见象夜绕大塔经行。More than 100 paces to the southwest of the great stupa, a white stone image, 18 feet high, faced the north. It showed many divine signs. People often saw it walking around the great stupa at night. Yeah, there you go. These are marvelous miracles that occur when someone has become Liang Zuzun. When you are perfect in wisdom and perfect in blessings, you inspire these kind of marvelous events. It's for us to say now, it's not true, it doesn't happen, couldn't happen. We haven't seen the likes of the Buddha who could inspire such a thing to take place. But when humans are good to the ultimate point, nature responds. 有人就怀疑说，那一个就说白石像怎么会起步呢？怎么会走路啊？往上，不可能的，就是因为我们多少人就变成两祖尊呢？多少不多了人怎么样就说成就你的道业，变成像佛这么有光明，这么有智慧，这么慈悲呢？就会引起大自然界就做我们科学没办法解释的这个所谓奇迹所以呢，我们不要怀疑了，就是自己修行修成了，这个奇迹都会多了。Okay, so we're going to, this is the north of Peshawar, King Ashoka Stupa and the Swat Valley. So these are places we recognize in current Pakistan. We'll be back to talk about the rest of the wonderful things that happened on the pilgrimage of Master Shenzang. This happened at the Sydney Opera House. Here I am with my faithful little carbon fiber guitar singing Dedication of Merit while the monks of the Lingyan Monastery Buddhist chorus join in, humming along in the background. So this happened last week at the Sydney Opera House. Had a full house, 2,700 people. Here's a Bodhi tree. And this is quite wonderful experience. 这个图像是上个礼拜在悉尼歌剧院那里，就我唱 Dedication of Merit，有004的出家众的合唱团跟着，这样子唱，跟着唱，是2700多人呢，在那儿参加了很微妙的机会，难得。This is 星云法师，跟我本身当司仪，他讲中文，我讲英文，就是这个翻拜演奏。So this is Master Xinyin and myself as MCs at the Chinese Buddhist music performance at the Sydney Opera House last week. Yeah, there you go. You saw it here. This is what I sang, but I've got a banjo now, so everybody can with dedication, transport ourselves around the world with our mind. 我们各位呢，现在就用自己的心，就把这个功德摄受一切众生 ，OK？ 回向给他们。May every living being, our minds as one and ready with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward, may all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. We'll conclude by bowing to the Buddha. And here we go. Okay, first bow. Second bow. Third bow. Bow to Shifu, bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Yi Xin, R Xin, San Xin. 好的. Okay, that'll do it for us for today. We'll see you all next week for more of the 10 Transferences. Ami Tuofo.
Thank you, 师法师。
Ami Tuofo. You're welcome.